Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mars and today we're going to be doing a metagame breakdown for VGC20 Series 7 format. So we've already had Series 7 for about a month now, so I just kind of wanted to touch up on what are the best Pokemon so far that we've seen, and as well as the most popular team compositions as well that's kind of been dominating on the Battle Stadium ladder. So for the first Pokemon and team composition is the Glacier team. So Glacier is definitely one of the Pokemon that a lot of people had their eye on. And again, for a really good reason. If you really look at Glacier stats, it's kind of one of the best stats that I feel like I've seen on a Pokemon. 100 base stat, 145 attack, 130 defense, and 110 special defense. So this Pokemon is definitely a monster, especially when it's Dynamax. And I feel like with Glacier, it's like so flexible. You can definitely run so many options with this Pokemon, whether it be a weakness policy set, maybe we've also seen like occasionally a Life Orb set, and as well as AV too. I feel like AV is starting to pick up a little bit more popularity, especially because I feel like we've seen a lot of Sun right now. So having that extra special defense for, say, Torkoal Eruption makes it a lot easier for Glacier to survive, and then throw off a really powerful Max Quake just to finish off the Torkoal. And as well as feel like Glacier does really need like the last move as well. I feel like a lot of players kind of play around between having either Heavy Slam or Close Combat, but at least with Assault Vest kind of gives you the option just to run both of them as well. Some common partners that we've seen for sure is Dusclops. Occasionally we're starting to see Cresselia as well. It's a really good Pokemon. It can set up Trick Room as an option for Psychic as well to handle fighting type attacks for Glacier as well. It does have Ally Switch too, so if you don't want Glacier to take a fighting move, you could definitely Ally Switch with Cresselia just to eat up the damage for it as well. We've also seen Tapu Fini next to a Glacier, and again, a good reason. You set up Misty Surge, your Glacier doesn't get burned, sleep, etc. And as well as we've also seen Regieleki as well. I feel like with Regieleki is, again, it's a pretty flexible Pokemon that you can go with. You could either choose to go with a bulky screens user with Light Clay, or you could also go for more offensive Regieleki. We've also seen like choice specs on Regieleki, if not choice specs, Magnet, just to give you an option to run Protect on the Pokemon, and then have like Electro Web, Thunderbolt, and Volt Switch as well, just to, you know, get out and position yourself as well with the Pokemon. Again, we've also seen a few Grimmsnarls, not a lot, but I feel like I should mention it, because essentially you can do the same thing with Regieleki on the screens part. Just set up screens, and then you could also Spirit Break some pretty problematic Pokemon, especially like Urshifu. I feel like Urshifu can definitely give the team, like Dusclops Glacier or Cresselia Glacier, a pretty bad matchup. So at least with Grimmsnarl, you can run like Spirit Break and eat up all the damage as well from like Wicked Blow. And yeah, do a lot of damage to the Urshifu because it is a pretty problematic Pokemon. And again, you have other options too with Grimmsnarl. You could use it as a Fake Out user, since it does get access to Fake Out, or Taunt as well if you want to stop like a potential opposing Trick Room, or if your opponent might try to reverse your Trick Room, you could do that as well. Stop them from doing that. So yeah, anyways, we'll move on to the next Pokemon. Another great Pokemon, Metagross, with the weakness policy. This thing is definitely another monster. Again, good reason. Has pretty good stats for being like a pseudo legendary, especially when you Dynamax this thing. Like, again, this Pokemon gets incredibly bulky. The attack is really great. The defense is amazing. The special defense is not that bad, but mostly a lot of players are running like Stomping Tantrum or Earthquake, so you can get like a Max Quake up and get your special defense up as well. Honestly, like the best thing about Metagross is because of the clear body, since you could just essentially just Max Steel Spike or Max Quake, and then you get all those boosts, and then you can't your opponent can't really get rid of them unless they have like Haze or something like that. Yeah, and again, we've seen like the common partners for this. We've seen Entei. Not a lot too much usage, but it is a pretty good Pokemon for Metagross to consider. But more than likely, you are going to see a lot more Tornadoes. Just because it does get Brutal Swing, so you are able to proc the weakness policy. And as well as, again, you know, you break Sash on your opponent's Pokemon. So for Metagross, you get like a nice clean KO. You can set up Tailwind as well, especially with the new speed mechanics. It does get access to Taunt as well, just to kind of stop a potential Will-O-Wisp on the Metagross too. And then you do have, they are usually running like air slash coverage for Urshifu. More on Urshifu single strike, since it is a pretty problematic Pokemon for Metagross as well. And again, some other common Pokemon that we've seen with Metagross is again with Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is one of the best water Pokemon and best support, in my opinion. With the Misty Surge, again, you protect your Metagross so it doesn't get burned or anything like that. So for the next Pokemon, again, we also saw a decent amount of Moltres. I feel like a lot of Pokemon right now actually run like a lot of weakness policy, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, we have Moltres here. You could either run Moltres either really fast with Timid, or like a pretty bulky Pokemon to eat up a few attacks, just so you could activate your weakness policy proc, and maybe enough HP so you can maybe live off certain moves, and so your Berserk could activate, you know, so then you could be potentially at +3, which is kind of insane. And then of course, you know, they normally want like Air Slash, maybe Hurricane if you want more damage, but I feel like Air Slash is a little bit more consistent. And again, you get that 30% chance of flinch, which is really nice as well. And then of course, like the best move, I think, on my opinion, with Galarian Moltres is the Fiery Wrath. Being able to a nice spread damage that has a 20% chance to flinch is really nice. And then again, most players do run Nasty Plot. A few also do run maybe Taunt as well, maybe to like stop a potential Spore or nut, or I guess like maybe like a potential setup as well. Like maybe if you don't want their Moltres to set up with Nasty Plot, you can maybe stop that for them. But yeah, mostly you'll definitely see Nasty Plot on this Pokemon. In case like if your opponent knows that you have weakness policy and they don't want to set it up, you can just go for a Nasty Plot, and you know, you'll essentially have a weakness policy proc. Again, yeah, we do see Tapu Fini here, good coverage for Moltres, and as well we also seen Regieleki next to Moltres as well. Again, very flexible with Regieleki. You could either run Light Clay Screens or you can run the Choice Specs variant. We've also seen Comfey next to Galarian Moltres as well, because of course you can just Draining Kiss the Moltres, activate the weakness policy. Whoops. And then, you know, if Galarian Moltres takes a lot of damage, you can just Floral Healing that Pokemon right up. And again, you can just run like Taunt on this thing. You could either run Ally Switch if you like to, just so you could protect your Moltres as well. And then we've also seen a few Raichu on Moltres teams. I feel like Raichu's usage kind of went down a little bit. But nonetheless, I think it is still a really good Pokemon, because you can just run the Lightning Rod. Kind of helps you against like opposing Regi or Electric types, I guess, as well for Moltres, like Thundurus Incarnate. It does have an option for like more speed control, like Nuzzle, and then it does get access to like Charm to reduce on the attack for Moltres, since Moltres does have a pretty high special defense, but not the best defense. So you could definitely run like something like Charm with Raichu just to lower the attack. Makes it more for Moltres to survive hits and activate the weakness policy as well for it. Let's see, so moving on, and then we do have the Thundurus, Urshifu, and Nihilego core. So I feel like this core is kind of like anti-meta in my opinion. A lot of people, again, they were all kind of focused on using last year Galarian Moltres and Metagross, and if you kind of see Thundurus, Urshifu, and Nihilego kind of handle like all that. Thundurus again very good against Galarian Moltres. You know, the Airstreams are not really gonna do anything to this guy, and as well as if they go for Max Darkness, then they just activate the Defiant for Thundurus. So Thundurus is very good against like Moltres, Urshifu, very good against Metagross, very good against Glacier as well, because you can close combat, and especially if you are running like the Choice Band set, like you're gonna be doing a lot of damage as well. Then we do have Nihilego, again another Pokemon that kind of does handle Galarian Moltres, because you can just run Power Her, Meteor Beam, get that +1 special attack, and then do a big amount of damage with Meteor Beam as well. Let's see, there's another thing I wanted to mention with this core. I don't think there's not much else I can mention about this. They just kind of all cover the options as well. Nihilego is really weak to ground. You have a Thundurus immunity for that. Nihilego is weak to Psychic. Urshifu with the Dark typing can cover that as well. And for Urshifu, it's definitely weak to Fairy. And again, here we have Nihilego with Poison typing, and as well as to handle the Fairies that's Urshifu that's weak to. Then we have Thundurus here that's kind of gets like walled for like certain Pokemon. that Urshifu and Nihilego could handle as well. And again, like this core also gets kind of walled by Tapu Koko, which we've kind of started to see a increase of usage in my opinion. So Nihilego is definitely very good against that matchup as well. So let's see, and then the next one that we have here, the next two are kind of just like good stuff or like hyper offensive. We've seen a player by the name of Day, I believe, that got pretty high on the ladder with this team, with the Clefairy, Dragapult, Urshifu, Regieleki, Kartana, and Tapu Fini. So just a bunch of good stuff Pokemon that we've seen. And as well as we do have Benji Wang's team that I believe he did top 4, or he made, I believe they did make it to the next round of the Players Cup too. So that's pretty good, and it is a really strong team as well. You do have, again, as you see here, you do have the Thundurus, Urshifu, Nihilego core here. We do have the Rotom Heat, because this team can be potentially lose to a Glacier, especially like if it's like Dynamax. So this core could definitely lose to Glacier or Dynamax, so at least with Rotom Heat kind of handles that matchup. And Kartana is just another really good Pokemon to use to kind of balance out the team. So yeah, this is kind of like what you would see for hyper offensive teams. Very good as well. And again, and then we have Sun. So as of recently, I do believe like maybe like the last 2 weeks of November, we started to see Venusaur Torkoal again. But now we've seen Regieleki with this core. I feel like a lot of players are starting to run like the Choice Specs variant on this core. And then we do have Urshifu, again, very good Pokemon. And then we've also seen Porygon 2 in this specific core. The last Pokemon, I feel like it's kind of like, I guess I'm not really sure. There's so many Pokemon that we've seen on this slot. We've seen a Pokemon like Landorus on this slot. I believe we've also seen Tapu Koko as well. And I do believe we've also seen like Rhyperior, or we've seen like Rhyperior in this slot, just so you could kind of have like another option for Rotom Heat, especially because Rotom Heat can wall like these three, and potentially Porygon 2 if it's not running like Tri Attack or something, and it's running like Thunderbolt, Ice Beam. So Rhyperior is very good to kind of handle Rotom Heat here. So yeah, so this is so far that we've seen, and again, really strong. And we already know, there's really not much to talk about Venusaur. Venusaur is just like a really annoying Pokemon. Especially when it's G-Max, doing that like extra damage by the end of the turn. I think the Vine Lash, yeah, the Vine Lash damage is like so broken. And again, like, and you really, sometimes you don't really even know like what your opponent's gonna do with Venusaur. You don't know if it's just gonna go right ahead and Vine Lash, like Dynamax Vine Lash, or you don't know if it's just gonna throw off the Sleep Powder, because some of course do run Sleep Powder, even if Tapu Fini is like the #1 usage of the format. You could still run Sleep Powder. I mean, it doesn't save like flying types unless they're running like a Safety Goggles on Lumberry, or maybe if your opponent is not running like Tapu Fini in the team, then you can just punish them for, you know, with Sleep Powder. Yeah, we've started seeing a lot of Sun again. It's a very good core as well. A lot of popular Japanese players are starting to use it, I believe. And yeah, so I would definitely keep an eye on Sun again. Sun is definitely a problematic team. And then I feel like I should give a little bit of respect for Dragapult, or Dragapult Colossal, or Blacephalon Colossal. I do believe 4 teams top 16 on the Players Cup too. So I feel like that's enough respect to kind of give Colossal. And again, you know, what makes Colossal incredibly good is, again, the residual damage from Volcalith as well. And then the fact that you can just run Surf makes it the fastest Pokemon. And then with Weakness Policy, you're doing a lot of more damage. We did see Blacephalon in the beginning of the format, mostly like a Choice Scarf variant for Blacephalon. But since we are running, well, not running, but since there is a lot of single stripe Urshifu, like it's definitely a really popular Pokemon. I feel like this kind of mode is not really as good anymore, because essentially you'll just die to a Sucker Punch, so, and then you won't be able to activate the Steam Engine for Colossal. So a lot of people, I feel like, are dropping Blacephalon because of that. So Dragapult is the next best thing, because it's incredibly fast, and you can also run not Castle Berry, sorry. You run Kobo Berry, so in case if your opponent is running maybe a Choice Band Urshifu and they want to go for Sucker Punch to get the guarantee KO, you do have the Kobo Berry just to help you from that. And then you get your Surf off, and then, you know, you start going from there with Colossal. So yeah, there were 4 teams that topped in Players Cup 2, so I feel like you should give it a little bit more respect. I feel like the core is still very good, and I feel like it's still a lot more to be explored too as well. And then for the next one, we do have the Regigigas and Weezing. Again, I feel like it's another core that you should respect it. It's incredibly strong. Regigigas being like, if you look at the stats, like, it's pretty good. 110 HP, 160 attack, defense is 110, special defense is 110, and the speed is 100 as well. And then when you Dynamax this Pokemon, and then especially next to neutralizing gas, you can just start going for max strikes and then start getting speed control from there. Especially if your opponent has like a clear body user, Weezing is very good for that. You basically negate the clear body and then you start dropping the speeds, like say for instance like a Dracopult as well. Granted, obviously you do have to kind of target the Dracopult's partner. But the fact that you can reduce the speed of Dracopult is actually really nice, and then you can just throw off Ice Punch as well, or Max Heal, since Regigigas does have an Ice Punch option. And it's just a very good Pokemon as well. It does a lot of damage with Giga Impact. And then mostly they do run high horsepower, and then we have seen Ice Punch again for just another good option. Occasionally we have seen as well Iron Head just for like Steel Spike as well. And then we've seen it mostly just running with Life Orb as well. And I think it's mostly just Jolly, max attack, max speed. And then with the EV left over, I don't really think it matters. You could probably just like put it on the HP here. But yeah, but what really makes this core really strong is definitely the Weezing, the neutralizing gas. Just being able to negate your opponent's abilities is really strong. So that kind of just stops you know, like pranksters. It stops, you know, any potential levitate Pokemon, you know, Tapu Fini not setting up the search for like for the team. So say like, because mostly Weezings do run like Will-O-Wisp on the team. Whoops, they do run like Will-O-Wisp. We have seen like Sludge Bomb as well, and then they run Taunt too, just so they could stop any potential Trick Room from going up. Since Regigigas, the most common move that you are going to be doing is the Max Strike with Giga Impact. So you're reducing the speed, so you definitely don't want Trick Room to go up. And yeah, Weezing is definitely a really great partner. We have seen Sugar Berry on this Pokemon. We've seen Black Sludge as well. I do believe Alex Underhill, that also topped with in the Players Cup 2, was running a Focus Sash variant, and I feel like this is probably like the better way to go around it too. So that way, like, you know, your opponent kind of has to hit this thing twice instead of once. And yeah, we have seen like maybe Galarian Weezing on this spot, but I feel like Weezing is just a little bit better. The only benefit I could see Galarian Weezing here is if your opponent has like a potential, say, like a Whirlwind, I guess. Like, you know, your opponent really doesn't probably want to Whirlwind the Regigigas because it's probably not going to do so much damage. So having like, I guess, like an immunity to that is really good. But I think most players are just going to be running like Weezing here. Alright. And then I feel like MVP of the format though, whoops, in my opinion, is definitely Rotom Heat. I don't know what it is about this guy. Well, I guess I do know. Rotom Heat is definitely one of the best fire types in my opinion of the format. It handles so many things like so well. Like it handles Metagross and Glacier. I feel like it's the reason why a lot of players dropped Ice Punch on Metagross so they could run say Zen Headbutt or Rock Slide for max Rockfall, just so they could do super effective damage to the Rotom Heat, because if not, they get completely walled by this mon. Glacier as well, a lot of players were running Heavy Slam over Close Combat, but I feel like a lot of players dropped Heavy Slam now for Close Combat, just so they could have another way to hit Rotom Heat for neutral attack. As well as it does pretty well against Tapu Fini, since most of the time it is going to be faster than Tapu Fini, so you could just throw off a nice powerful Max Lightning on it and potentially get a KO. And it also does, yeah, it's just a very good Pokemon. It walls a lot of Pokemon that are pretty popular in the format. It does handle like a Pokemon like Celesteela as well if they do have like a Lightning Rod user next to it, say a Raichu or a Togedemaru. And then again, you know, you can't. It's just a very good Pokemon in my opinion. I feel like it's definitely a Pokemon that you should kind of prepare for, because if not, this thing could definitely kind of like run through your team because of, you know, a powerful overheat, especially when it sets up the sun, does incredible damage. And then if it is able to get like a nasty plot off as well, can be really problematic. So I feel like you should keep an eye on Rotom when it comes to like team building. Just kind of have a way to kind of handle this Pokemon. Again, I mean, Tapu Fini is pretty good, but since it is faster than Tapu Fini, it can just throw off like 2 Thunderbolts and it should not get out afterwards. Unless it's running like maybe like a Citrus Berry. But again, with Nasty Plot Thunderbolt, it's incredibly strong. It'll probably maybe one-shot Tapu Fini if it's not EV to live. But yeah, let's go for the last little section. I feel like this is just like a little underrated section where, again, some players should just kind of keep an eye for. P2, we started to see a decent amount. Again, because it's like very strong, especially with the download boost. If you kind of look at the format as well, like if you look at like Urshifu and like Metagross and Glacier, they kind of have like a high defense, so you'll more likely get like a +1 in special attack most of the time. So that's what makes Porygon 2 very good. We've also seen a few analytic P2s as well. Not a lot, but it is a pretty good option to consider. And again, like the most common, of course, is Ice Beam. I feel like it's like the most used for it. We've also seen Tri-Attack. If not Tri-Attack, we've also seen Thunderbolt. Recover, again, another great move. I think it's kind of essential for P2 to have. And then again, for Trick Room, for like another option for speed control. We've also seen a few Eerie Impulse. We've seen just a few. I feel like I should mention it, but just to keep an eye for that, an Eerie Impulse P2, because that could definitely be pretty annoying to deal with. And again, let's see, we do have the Mamoswine, another good Pokemon, very good against the Genies, Tornadus, Landorus, and Thundurus. So Mamoswine is a very good Pokemon for that. It also does kind of handle Moltres as well with the Icicle Crash. It also does kind of handle Metagross as well if you are able to throw off like a high horsepower on it as well, do a lot of damage. Again, like I said, Nihilego is a very good Pokemon too, that is started to see up in usage. Again, the Power Herb with Meteor Beam, I feel like it's probably like the best set for it. You could run Focus Sash on Nihilego if you like, but I feel like the Power Herb Meteor Beam is very good. Combo is very good. Another Pokemon that we started to see a lot too is Regirock, which is kind of interesting. It does have like a pretty high defense too, which is kind of nice. Being able, I feel like Regirock is a pretty good counter to say Glacier, since you can just run maybe a leftovers with Curse to kind of eat up all the damage, and then you can just throw off a really powerful Rockfall on Glacier as well to do super effective as damage. Cresselia is another great one as well, and especially like it's very. I think the thing with Cresselia that I feel like is very good and a little bit underrated is because you don't really know what kind of Celesteela you're gonna go up against. Because I feel like I ran into like different types of leftover sets. I would either come across the leftover sets with Leech Seed, but they would run maybe like Flash Cannon or Air Slash as well, just for like more coverage, or a Dynamax option and get like a special attack increase. We've also seen like maybe like the common like Stall with leftovers, Substitute, Leech Seed, and Heavy Slam for more damage. Or as well as we've also seen a few like Power Herb as well, because this thing actually does get access to Meteor Beam, so you can just, and it's like another good way to like handle Rotom Heat. Like I said, I feel like Rotom Heat is definitely one of the best fire types in the format. So the fact that Celesteela could get a power, could run Power Herb with Meteor Beam is actually really good. You know, it's kind of crazy that this thing gets Meteor Beam. And then again, yeah, you could just run it more offensive with like Air Slash and like Air Slash, Flash Cannon, and as well as another Pokemon that's seen a decent amount of usage of Spectrier. We've mostly seen this Spectrier with like a Clefairy next to it, and again, this could definitely be really scary, especially It could like definitely one-shot Cresselia, could definitely one-shot like Dusclops, especially with the helping hand boost if you do run it next to Clefairy. Mostly we've also seen like with Life Orb on this Pokemon, and then like the most common movesets would be like Shadow Ball, Mud Shot to get the special attack increase, and then maybe occasionally we have seen like Hyper Beam just for like more speed control if you like. And again, like if you look at the stats, like Spectre is still very good. 130 speed is incredibly fast. The special attack is also very good. You could even maybe like reduce it just a little bit, just so you could add a little bit more bulk to this Pokemon. But yeah, Spectre is definitely another good Pokemon that I feel like players should keep an eye for. And the last one is Tapu Koko. Again, I feel like I'm starting to see a few more Tapu Koko. Even though, yes, Regieleki is very common, and you don't really want to set up the electric terrain for that thing, because then it'll start doing a lot more damage. But we've also seen Tapu Koko next to Regieleki for like more more damage output, and yeah, it could definitely be pretty scary just setting up electric terrain for Regieleki if you are running like the Choice Specs variant or Magnet variant, just to do some more extra damage like offensively. And yeah, so that's it for the video for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy, feel free to follow or not follow, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and let me know what Pokemon you've been using so far in Series 7 and what you've been enjoying as well. So far for me, what I've been enjoying a lot was, oh man, I actually don't have it here. Oh, I was using Sun, even though I'm not really happy that Sun is back, because Sun is really annoying to play with. But I did run like something similar to this, and it was actually kind of fun to play around with. Venusaur is definitely just an annoying Pokemon. And I guess to kind of end up the video, we do have the Pikalytics here if you guys do want to look over what are like the most usage. We do see here Tapu Fini, and then, you know, again, this is just the usage of the Battle Stadium and doubles, and as well as another good one here in Liberty Note. This kind of tells you like what is each week. They just kind of like tell you what are the most used Pokemon they've seen of that week. So right here it tells you the period, which would be from November 22nd to the 28th, and they just kind of show you the stats here. Kind of shows you what's been going up in usage, what's been going down, or one that's just been going in neutral here. So I just scroll down here for you guys so you guys could see. Again, look, as we were talking about Cresselia and Spectre, those are definitely Pokemon to keep an eye for. Mamoswine and Regirock, it looks like 6% of players have been using it for the past week. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you guys did enjoy, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. And if you guys want to hang out with me and watch me do some battles, I do stream over on Twitch, on twitch.tv/MargeVGC. I'll leave a link on the video, or I'll leave a link at the bottom of the description. And yeah, sorry for the not consistent uploads, guys. I just mostly just been on Twitch, or I just been mostly like busy on doing other stuff. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.